Hey guys, this is Poohead189, and today we're going to be talking about a relatively obscure piece of Elder Scrolls lore. Some of you might know it, some of you might not. If you don't feel too bad. Even people who have played and replayed the games dozens of times over might not have heard of this. And just in case you don't know of it, or are new to the franchise in general, I'm going to give a brief, simple explanation, and then I will go and grant a more lengthy one and delve a bit deeper into it. Alright, let's begin. So, what is a Dragonbreak, and why is it important? A Dragonbreak is when Akatosh, the dragon god of time, loses his hold over linear time for a limited period, and for that period, multiple timelines appear to exist simultaneously, and when all is done, they all converge, which means, after the fact, everyone on Nirn can have different memories and experiences from the period of the Dragonbreak. It's an easy concept to explain, but it's somewhat difficult to comprehend. Here, I'll give an example. Imagine there is a Dragonbreak, and it lasts for a period of 3 months. Perhaps the Dwemer returned and destroyed one of the ancient towers that hold up the world, sending a shockwave that loosens Akatosh's hold on time. At the end of the 3-month period, 3 friends get together for a drink, an Imperial, a Khajiit, and an Argonian. The Imperial says that Anvil was destroyed a month ago, attacked by trolls. The Khajiit says that it was not trolls, it was goblins. The Khajiit was there during the battle and remembers it. The Imperial says that he was there as well, and in fact, he saw the Khajiit friend die. How could he be here now? The Argonian says that both are wrong, that Anvil was not attacked at all. The Argonian spent all of his time in Anvil and had a peaceful 3 months, though they did hear news of an asteroid that struck the Imperial city, something both the Imperial and the Khajiit had never heard of. And here's the thing, all 3 of the friends' experiences are true, despite the contradictions. When one is in a Dragonbreak, it's extremely hard to fathom, and when the Dragonbreak is over, despite how wild it is, it's hard to really notice it. And other than a few key individuals writing down accounts, most of the time, the only way someone can tell that they have been in a Dragonbreak is a sense of unease and a spiritual anguish that lasts for days afterward. Now, there are 5 recorded Dragonbreaks in Elder Scrolls history. However, it is theoretically possible that a Dragonbreak could have occurred dozens if not hundreds of times, without the populace knowing about it. There is no time limit on the phenomenon. If one happened and it lasted 5 seconds or less, then any sort of different experiences one might perceive could be chalked up to misremembering or déjà vu and the like. And I also would be remiss not to point out that every Elder Scrolls game since Daggerfall technically falls under a Dragonbreak, in order for every playthrough of the games to be canon. If you were 4 Stormcloaks and they won in Skyrim, that's canon, but the same thing if you played Imperials and they won. So at the end of the day, the concept of a Dragonbreak is a great way to help everyone feel a part of the Elder Scrolls universe. But let's get back to the main Dragonbreaks. The first one in recorded history is, ironically, not universally considered a real Dragonbreak. It's disputed by scholars. It is called the Time Wound, and it was when Alduin, the dragon meant to eat the world, was sent forth thousands of years in time by the Greybeards, which is how Alduin ended up in Skyrim during the events of the game Skyrim. The reason people tend to think of that as a Dragonbreak is because very little is known from that ancient time in the Merethic era, and a Dragonbreak would explain why, as the Greybeards were messing with time. However, of course, while they were altering it, we do not know if Akatosh or Ariel lost control of linear time, and also Ariel is the elven version of Akatosh, just to let you know. The next is during the Battle of Red Mountain, when the Dwemer fought the Chimer, who would become the Dunmer or Dark Elves later on. It was caused due to the activation of the Numidium, which was a giant automaton powered by the Heart of Lorkhan. The Heart of Lorkhan is an astronomically powerful artifact, as it is the heart of a literal god, and it was used in the creation of what some might consider another god, as the Numidium is called the Brass God. Whenever the Numidium is activated, a Dragonbreak occurs. The next one occurred during the Middle Dawn era, when a zealous and fanatical sect of the Elysian Order tried to create a ritual that would separate various aspects of Akatosh from the elven god Ariel. You see, many think Akatosh and Ariel are the same being, as I mentioned earlier, simply called different names by his worshippers. Yet some do not think so, and believe them separate. This sect, called the Marukati Selective, believed they were one, but wanted to erase certain, more elven aspects of the deity, and because of their hubris, and fucking with the god of time itself, it caused the largest Dragonbreak in history. It lasted for a period of 1,008 years, and untold events, both strange, unnerving, and fantastical, occurred during this time. The last two Dragonbreaks are both caused by the activation of the Numidium. First, when Tiber Septim was granted access to the construct by treating with the Dunmer, and he activated it to help his legions conquer Tamriel, and secondly, during the events of Elder Scrolls II Daggerfall, the Numidium is activated again, and the political landscape of High Rock is forever changed. Now, something you might have noted during my retelling of the Dragonbreaks, and considering all the games where Dragonbreaks occur, is that wild and unlikely things occur during it. And that leads me to think that when a Dragonbreak occurs, it is not only time that is altered, but reality itself, the very aspect of probability. And then one has to wonder, if Akatosh can lose his hold over linear time due to some catastrophic or metaphysical event that shakes Nirn, does that happen to the other divines? Is the reason wild events occur during a Dragonbreak because all of the other divines have been sundered for a time as well? Perhaps they are simply noticed less than Akatosh when a Dragonbreak occurs. I imagine if Mara experiences something similar, then perhaps romantic and even platonic relationships go out of whack, or perhaps relationships that were fated to occur do not, and the future is changed. We can only speculate. Finally, one also needs to understand that when a Dragonbreak ends and Akatosh stitches time back together, it's not placed back in perfect harmony, just as perfect as it could be. For instance, during the Dragonbreak of the Middle Dawn, it is said in one alternate string of time that the Empire of Cyrodiil expanded to the stars. Obviously, once the Dragonbreak was over, that was not the case. The Imperials had no spacefaring technology, not to mention the stars themselves are not actual stars but holes in the sky that lead to Aetherius. However, even though the interstellar empire is not possible in this timeline, it is possible for there to be a book somewhere that explains that expansion that apparently did not happen, and if one were to travel to some heavenly body and land atop it, there is a chance there are ruins of this empire that never was. Or, let's go back to the first example, with the Imperial, Argonian, and Khajiit. The Khajiit died in the Battle of Anvil in the Imperial's experience, and while apparently Akatosh saw fit to stitch reality back together in the timeline where the Khajiit survives, it's possible he could remember dying, or that his parents attended his funeral, or that he falls asleep and dreams of his death that did occur in that alternate timeline, or that his sister who saw him die in that alternate timeline does not remember and did not experience it in this timeline, but she somehow still has trauma from it. Even if the timelines converge and become one again, it is possible to erase all timelines but one. This linear timeline is a combination of all of them, to a certain degree, and though Akatosh is immensely powerful and hyper-intelligent, unlike the Abrahamic god of our world, he's not perfect, and there is only so much the Chief Aedra or God can do when putting time back together. Although I must note that there is some lore that contradicts this fact, and that states that while the male dragons populate Tamriel, the females of the species, called Jills, are the ones that stay in Aetherius, or at least outside of Nirn, and it is their task to reconnect and stitch time back together, and not Akatosh's. This is spoken of in the letters called the Numantia Intercept Letters, but like most Elder Scrolls lore, in-universe texts are not set in stone as canon, just like how historians or anthropologists from our world can be misled by old texts. To this scholar, it is Akatosh that reconnects time since he is the god of time, and he already repairs his hold on linear time. It would seem strange to delegate someone else to fix the timeline, but we might never know. Alright guys, that's the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it or learned something new. I'm going to try to get back into my fantasy and science fiction lore videos, and hopefully this is the first of many more to come. Please like, share, and subscribe if you think I deserve it, and I always welcome comments. Okay, thanks everyone.